That building in particular has a sloped roof at its highest point. And so, there's a safety factor that would be considered there, that we wouldn't want to put somebody up on a sloped roof. And so, the decision was made to secure the building from inside.
And that was Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle attempting to explain why the agency did not guard the roof used by the gunman during Saturday's attempted assassination on former President Trump. The attack happening despite a reported increase of Secret Service protection over intelligence showing an Iranian plot to kill the 45th president. Today, all senators will receive an unclassified phone briefing about the Trump assassination attempt. Joining me live right here at the RNC is Kansas Senator Roger Marshall, a member of the Senate Budget, Homeland Security, Agriculture, and Health Committees. Senator, it's great to have you this morning.
Maria, glad to be with you here live in Milwaukee. Good morning.
Usually we're talking remote. It's nice to see you in person, so thank you for being here. What are you expecting from this briefing on the Trump assassination attempt?
Yeah. I think it's good to get everybody in the room. I think an hour-long phone call today is not going to do it. Next week on the Homeland Security Committee, then we'll have some type of a hearing. But it'll be just the tip of the iceberg. There's more questions than there are answers. Look, the Keystone Cops, you think, could have prevented a 20-year-old kid that had to go buy a ladder to somehow get on this roof. It makes no sense to Americans. We want to hold somebody accountable. And I think that's what I would say is no one from this administration has ever been held accountable. You think about Afghanistan, we lost 13 soldiers there. No one held accountable. 11 million people crossed the border illegally. No one held accountable. Has this administration ever fired anybody?
Well, it's also, laced with politics. Every agency I look at is laced with politics. I mean, how are we supposed to believe that a 20-year-old carrying a ladder was missed and with an AK, what was it? What kind of gun was it? An AK-15 or an AK-47 or something? How is it possible that that was missed? And then he's on the roof right across from where Trump is speaking.
Right. I think we have to just question Joe Biden's judgment, the people he's placed in charge of this type of agency. How is this lady qualified to be the head of the Secret Service? What was her qualifications? You want someone like Mike Pompeo who wakes up in the morning and goes to sleep. I saw Secretary Pompeo last night. I mean, he's just so intense about security issues and knows so much more. So I think that we need better captains at the head of each one of these ships.
Okay, so you're going to get the briefing and you're going to continue this investigation. We're looking at this video of people they saw the person on the roof, and they were saying there's a shooter right there, and still he was able to get shots out, and now unfortunately we have to talk about the fatality of this former fire chief who lost his life. You mentioned the border, Senator. President Biden's border crisis and immigration policies getting plenty of attention during this convention. The brother of Maryland mother Rachel Morin spoke last night. She was allegedly raped and murdered by an illegal migrant, blaming the Biden administration for his sister's death. Watch this.
My sister's death was preventable. The monster arrested for killing Rachel entered the U.S. unlawfully after killing a woman in El Salvador. Joe Biden and his designated border czar, Kamala Harris, opened our borders to him and others like him, empowering them to victimize the innocent. Yet, to this day, we have not heard from Joe Biden or Kamala Harris. They never apologized.
What a shame. Rachel Morin looked like such a beautiful woman. She lost her life as well at the hands of an illegal migrant. You brought us the story of how China is working with Mexico. China is the lead partner in getting drugs in here, human trafficking. What is your reaction to what has taken place, and what could change should Trump retake the White House?
Well, this is a sad story. Rachel Morin, Laken Riley, say their names.
Yeah.
Why won't Joe Biden even say their names? 13 Afghanistan, 13 of our Marines died exiting Afghanistan, and the President of the United States doesn't remember that we lost 13 soldiers there on a national debate stage. I've said for years, how does he sleep at night? Over 200,000 Americans died from fentanyl poisoning. How does Joe Biden sleep at night? How does Secretary Mayorkas sleep at night? They are responsible. Ultimately, they are responsible for what's happening. Then November 5th is the final judge.
Yeah, but Senator, I mean, look, there are flyers at the border telling illegals, don't forget to vote for Joe Biden. You know, you're an elected official. What are you going to do about the idea that there's a lot of speculation that the Democrats want illegals to vote? Will they be able to vote in the presidential election in November?
Well, look, I think it is more than speculation. Certainly, these folks are already voting in cities and states that are allowing it to happen. That's why we've invested as a Republican Party significant resources to make sure that the elections are legal and fair. It won't be easy. We need incredible county clerks, those type of people that are doing their registering to voting. I don't know how you sit there and keep the roll call of who's allowed to vote in which election. So this is wrought with disaster. That's why those local elections are so important as well. The city commissioners and mayors, all those elections are every bit as important.
I mean, do you think that's the reason that he has the wide open border? I mean, it's such a head scratcher to understand why the commander in chief would have no security at the southern border and, for example, have, what is it, almost 400 people on the terrorist watch list who were apprehended in the last year.
Yeah, there's no other explanation. You go back to this taking the census. In the census, they wanted to count every person in those communities, as opposed to counting every American citizen or legal person in those communities, because that's how we make the determine how many electoral votes does Kansas get, does California get. It's based upon how many warm bodies are in there as well. So it impacts the presidential election even if they don't vote.
Let me ask your thoughts on the Senate and whether or not the Republicans will be able to take the Senate. Right. What are the odds? How have things changed after the assassination attempt? Tell me that.
Yeah, I think politically the biggest change is that there's no one standing in line to take Joe Biden out. That conversation is gone. I don't think you could even give Kamala Harris the nomination. If you gave it to her, she would say, no thanks. I don't want to be the loser here. So what I expect is that Joe Biden's going to go down with this sinking ship, and then they'll spend all the resources probably in the Senate. I think that's their best, the Democrats' best chance. There's 7 or 8 very key races. Think about Montana, Nevada, Arizona, Michigan, Wisconsin, Ohio, Pennsylvania. So that's where they're going to spend their resources. I'm very optimistic, but it doesn't matter. People don't get out and vote, and I think that's why we have a huge effort to get people out. Those people that vote maybe 1 out of 4 elections, let's make sure we get those people out to vote.
So you don't think that there's going to be anybody to try to compete with Joe Biden? You think Joe Biden will be the nominee in November?
Yeah, that story's over with now. I think
because of the assassination attempt.
This assassination attempt, as just all those people that were sitting on the fence, the Nikki Haley supporters, I think have now, many of those same people that have supported me in the past have been hesitant. Now they're saying, okay, I give up. Donald Trump is indeed the person. This assassination attempt, it was divine intervention. We think that we're here today, Maria, making history. Don't you feel like that we're making history this week?
Well, this is absolutely historic, and the energy here has been so electric. What is your expectation on this ticket? I mean, President Trump's running mate announced, J.D. Vance, spoke with Vice President Kamala Harris over the phone yesterday, we're told. They reportedly had a brief and respectful conversation, and they said that they are looking forward to debating. No date has been set so far. Despite all this, Vice President Harris is attacking Vance in a YouTube video. Watch this.
Trump looked for someone he knew would be a rubber stamp for his extreme agenda, and make no mistake, J.D. Vance will be loyal only to Trump, not to our country.
Senator, your reaction.
Well, I'm going to talk about J.D. Vance. America knows who Kamala Harris, the cackler, right? J.D. Vance is one of my very best friends. He's a Marine. He's a fighter. He's going to fight for hardworking Americans. That's what I hear out there when I go back to Kansas. Union workers in Kansas are so vitally important to this economy, to our communities as well. J.D. and I both have a place in our heart for union workers. We both maybe didn't come from the best of backgrounds. He had a grandma raised him. I had loving parents, fortunately, but we weren't born with silver spoons in our mouth.
Yeah.
And he's earned everything he's ever got. He's going to be a fighter, and America's going to love him.
So there will be a debate between J.D. Vance and Kamala Harris.
I'm licking my chops. I mean, if J.D. is so talented when it comes to thinking on his feet, able to go in, all those practice sessions going into CNN, MSNBC, he'll do great.
Wow. Senator, it's great to see you today. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining us early this morning. Roger Marshall, Senator from Kansas. Quick break.